Remember, excuse me, remember the little one the other day when I was here? I didn't quite like the way she was looking and I squashed her head. She was looking like more like a little ape or a little monkey. That's her. That's the repeat. Was that my phone? It wasn't the camera, surely. Well, anyway, that's her now. She still needs refining. But what I've got, while I've got her here, I just wanted to show you that second time around sometimes is better. I prefer what I see here now to what she was before. Now, with the baby's head, always remember, because this is important, so your baby, when you finally sculpt it, doesn't look out of place. Any baby's head is wider at the back and slightly narrower at the front. It's just the way it is, right? And the best way to check this with little ones like this is to just put your finger and your thumb around the top part of the head, and if you have a look, it's the shape of an egg. So that's wider, that's more narrow. In the case of big ones, you can do the same measurement with I think it's called calipers. I don't think I've got one inside. No, I don't. It's out in the studio. I seldom use them now. I just go by eyeballing them. But yeah, that's important to know. So look at the baby's head side on from the back, and you can see this is where I've just added some clay. Still need to blend that in. And front on, and you can see baby's head should always be bigger at the back. So that's her. She's going to need a body. I need to try and hurry up and finish this other one because the body that I made is starting to dry out and I don't want that. So we'll put you aside, little one, and we'll bring this one back here, which is the one I started doing these videos with. Now, I'm just going to condition some clay and then we'll be back to work on this one. So now what we're going to do is create the puffy look that they have, babies, on around their eyes. So I've rolled out this piece and I'm just going to cut it in half. And that will blend, this will blend in with that, which is that little, I don't not know the technical names of them, but anyway, babies have like a little fat pad there. So it'll all come together once you, you know, add the additional clay and so forth. So blend that in there. You can come down here where the temple area is as well. And you will cover some of the, oh, you can cover most of the eye really. Because babies do have that, well, most babies do anyway. Depending on their age, they have that puffiness about them. Little eyes. My hands had to recuperate this morning. I couldn't do sculpting, I couldn't do anything because I had to demold out of a silicone glove mold limbs that I sculpted for a head that I bought. That makes a lot of sense. From another sculptor over in the US. Loved it, that little head, but I could not, for the life of me, get around to doing the limbs for the longest time. So now that I did get John to pour them, I wanted them out of those silicone molds straight away. Yeah, not too bad. I've got one that needs the hand redone. For some reason, the silicone did not reach right down to the fingers. So we'll pour the hand only again. Hopefully the same colour, because the head that came from the USA, from another sculptor. I don't know why she made it that colour, but oh, it's sort of like a pinky, fleshy, purpley, bluey colour, and it's so hard to match up the limbs with it. That one's not for sale anyway, it's going to stay with me. But yeah, all the same, I still would like for him or her to look nice. So you can see where that's not blended, this is blended with the extra clay. Now also we'll mention here that the more smoothing you do through the process, and I'm just pushing this down now, through the process of your sculpting, and you just sort of push a little bit there to form that, the less you have to do later. Because in order to make a silicone baby, or even a polymer clay baby, it doesn't really matter, everything has to be really, really smooth. So if you don't achieve that whilst you're sculpting, you then have to get some warm water, a fine piece of, concentrating and talking is not my best point, sandpaper, and rub down the clay until it is smooth with the sandpaper. So it's quite a job in itself, so I like to try and avoid that by doing as much as possible in the process of creating the baby. So I'm just going to do this little line here like that. Division, whatever you want to call it. We've got puffy eyes coming now. Another hot day today, it's humid. Oh gosh, the humidity this year has really, really pushed me right to the edge. It doesn't allow me to do anything in the studio. I should have had it as part of a house instead of fully detached, but in hindsight, everyone can see it differently. So when we had a day and a half actually of milder weather, not so much humidity, I raced out to that studio. I wanted to get a couple of things finished. I was glad to be there, but short-lived at this time of year. Yes, it has got air conditioning, it's got heating, it's got everything, but my issue is not when I'm in there. It's when I come out and make the dash to come into the house. And that is when, if the humidity is high, it aggravates my asthma, so that puts paid to that. So what you do to one side, you do to the other side, and you continue on. Okay. I'll continue with this, and when it's finished, we'll get on to the next step. I'll be back to show you that. Seems that cameras and me, and videos and me, are not meant to be. I did explain what I was doing, and I showed you what I was doing, but the camera decided that it wasn't going to tape what I was going to do, or doing. So what I did, I don't know if you can see from there, I rolled out and conditioned a piece of clay about that thick, fitting from one end of the head to the other, which then becomes the forehead and obviously part of the brow. And I conditioned it in, I blended it in with the top parts of the eye, both eyes. And that's where I'm at the moment. I haven't really done much else than that. I'm sort of losing, I'm losing something. I'm losing the little fat roll that babies have there sometimes and I quite like it, but I don't know why I've lost it this time, but it is not there anymore, so I may have to build it up a little bit again and make it reappear like magic. And I can't remember what I was saying in that segment that wasn't taped for some reason. I do remember saying that in time and with experience, you will learn how much pressure to put on with your fingers when you're sculpting, and how much not to, and all this sort of thing. It just takes time and experience. But it does happen. Not happy with the way that's looking. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to roll up a little piece of clay here, and I am going to put it there, and then roll that both parts in towards the eye and up towards the corner of the eye and down towards the bridge of the nose. So just like that. Looks like I've got more on one side than the other. I'll have to fix that. So the next thing we're going to do, I'm going to condition some more clay, and then I'll come back and show you. We're going to build up on the temples, because now this, to me, looks like it's getting too long, and I need to fill the sides in more over here. So, and I'll fix up the brow as well, which will be about here. Well, that's easy enough. I'll show you now. You take your thumb and you press down until you get an indentation like that. Just sort of gives you the brow look. And you do it on the other side as well, like so. And then just fix up that little centre part there. You'll have things to fix up all the time. Right. And you know what? Sculpting looks really easy when someone else is doing it. And then when it comes to you doing it, you think, oh my gosh, how did she do that? You know, you will get to understand the whys and hows as time goes on, like everything else. But yeah, it's not as easy as it seems, guys. But you can do it. Anyone can do it. Just depends how they apply themselves. Anyway, I could be sitting here fiddling with this all day until I get it the way I want it. And the camera's going to boot me off again. So, I'll be back. I rolled out a piece of clay about that big and about that thick. And what I'm going to do now is going to cut it directly in half. And we're going to work out which way is the best way to build up those temples. Whether I put the thick side on or the thin side on, which then means that the majority of the thickness goes to the back of the head. And really not quite sure which way to go with this one, or this way. And this way, the thickness is actually going to the cheek and some to the back. I think I'm going to go this way. And it is trial and error and a lot of guesswork. You'll soon find out whether it is the right way, because it will show. Okay, so we're going to blend it into the other piece there. And the idea is that we don't want any seams. It should be seamless. Every addition that you put on should be seamless. So just continue, and you will do some more shaping in a minute. Now I've got to remember how I did this side, so I'm going to do the other side the same. Okay, clever. New. And as you see, with each addition you put on, it just takes on a different form. The little face, the little baby's head, takes on a different form. Just make sure you don't lose your brow in the process. Like that. Smooth it all in. And keep going until you get it to look like you want it to look. So you're pretty much not concentrating on the back of the head at all, really, at this stage. It's just mainly the front of the head. And this little baby sort of seems to be having a bit of trouble waking, seems to, the appearance is, but it's having a bit of trouble wanting to wake up, not wanting to wake up. Just a little bit of a frown there. It's all different expressions. Not that I have control over them. Sometimes I intend one thing and it works out to be a completely different thing. So, there you are. It's one side sort of done. Just still working on the seams a little bit. And then we do exactly the same thing with this one. Which way did I do it? I think it was this way. Yeah, I think it was that way. It better be. I wasn't going to have one temple that's going to be considerably bigger than the other, which I do not want. Okay, I'll blend this in and I'll be back. So, I've decided to call this little girl Isabella. And Isabella will eventually become a silicone baby of roughly about at least 12 inches, maybe a little bit more. Now, when I was doing her, I decided, because this end here look like that end, a bit of a dip there. So I decided to roll out some clay and add that little bit more to that area there, like that. And just blend it in to the little temple area, little fat pad, as I call them. And sort of balance things out a little bit better there. There you go, like that. So, and then I've got the